In 2001, prompted by a friend's out of the blue phone call, Chuck Riley and George De La Nuez applied for and were ultimately awarded a new Harley Davidson point in Clinton Township, Michigan, just north of Detroit. Today, Wolverine Harley Davidson is one of the most highly regarded Harley Davidson dealerships in the country. As a result of their commitment to their employees, their community, and most importantly, their customers, the crew at Wolverine Harley Davidson has a culture like no other. As they like to say, it's the Wolverine Way. In this episode, I'm pleased to bring you Wolverine owner and operator George De La Nuez. What is your origin story? How did you come to the Harley Davidson business?
Well, Mark, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invite. First of all, I'd like to thank you for your services also. I send people your way all the time.
Thank you.
They come back smarter. They come back excited. Therefore, my store is improved and becomes better. So I want to show my appreciation there.
Kind of you to say.
Back to your question, I've been in love with two wheels my entire life, as far back as I can remember. Bicycles, mini bikes, dirt bikes. I was on a road bike when I was 14, 15 years old. So my love for two wheels has always been with me. I graduated the Harleys when I was in my 30s. My mentors, I've been blessed with two great mentors and friends, Scott Morgan and Chuck Riley, who's my partner now. They were Harley and are Harley enthusiasts. So one day, while working for Chuck, I was a general manager at his Chrysler Jeep store. A friend of ours called, and he was a Harley owner in Michigan, and said, "Listen, I just found out that Harley Davidson is awarding a new point in your area, and I think you guys would be a home run. I think that you guys are the perfect candidates." So we went for it almost immediately. We were enthusiasts. We have a love for motorcycling. There was others, obviously, and I remember it was May 31st of 2001 when I went to Juneau and gave my presentation to the executives. And I remember that day because it was my daughter's 8th birthday party.
Oh,
and
my.
She was ticked. She didn't want me to leave. So we had to fly to Milwaukee, give the presentation, and fly back. Make a long story short, we were awarded the point, and got the opportunity and opened September of 2002. That was 20 years ago, and here we are.
And you've been rocking ever since. Don't you just love how sometimes serendipity plays out? Like, do you think you would have ever actively sought a Harley point if it wasn't from your friend's prompting?
No. It was not. We were obviously, I've been in the car business for a long time.
Yeah.
So we weren't even considering, but yes, that call changed our lives, and I know it changed mine.
Well, and greatness requires significant effort and sacrifice. And I'll never forget the one dealer meeting where Jerry Wilkie was talking about a similar event where he had to leave for the dealer meeting, and his daughter was in the driveway and her bicycle was broken, and she was asking him if he could fix it, but he had to leave because he had to catch a plane and go, attend this very important dealer meeting. And I was thinking that immediately came to mind when you talked about, sacrificing or asking your daughter to understand that, you needed to be apart for her 8th birthday, for bigger and better things. Do you find do you find that you often have to sacrifice or ask people to sacrifice things in their personal life in order to be successful at Wolverine?
Uh, Good question. I like my employees to have balance. I really go out of my way so they have the proper time off. I understand. I know that it's very, very important to balance your life and to, be with your family and recharge your batteries. And you can't burn people out.
Right.
And I try again to do it. I have a tendency of being a workaholic, and I've kind of pumped the brake on that a little bit because you got to set an example. But at Wolverine, I think people just jump in when we need to jump in. I think that we've become a very resilient, very pull our sleeves up, deal with whatever comes our way. Keep a very positive attitude and focus on the things that are important and not the things that aren't.
Yeah. Well, as we were talking before I clicked record, your people just love you. I mean, they're mad for you. So it's no great leap to think that, when there are times of intentional imbalance, which, face it, there are. This is a seasonal business. You're in Michigan, just north of Detroit. Your summer's what, about 4 weeks? There are times when it's all hands on deck. But I think one of the things that's fascinating is whenever I would ask them, how's George? I've been on video calls with all of your people and they've attended workshops. I'd say, how's George doing? And they will always say, I'm looking at him right now. Meaning that you are a hands-on owner. Why do you think that's so important?
Well, it's what I love to do. And by the way, my people love me as much as I love them. Yeah. It's because of that. It's loyalty and love is a two-way street. So I love being here. I love what I do. I think it's the perfect Harley Davidson ownership store model. I'm here because it's just what I love doing. I love writing. I love being with my customers. I love being with my employees. Sometimes when I try to take a day off, I kind of gravitate. I live 5 miles from here, 8 minutes. So I gravitate and visit the store just because it's something that I love doing.
Yeah.
I love my team. My daughter, for example, we spoke about her, but when we started this, she's a manager. She's here. How cool is it to see and interact with your kid?
Yeah.
How many parents would love that? And I get it. It's a bonus. It gives me great joy to give back to my community. It's important to my customers that I'm here and that I'm available to them. That's why it's important to me.
Yeah, excellent. Of what Wolverine, we'll get to personal accomplishments, but what Wolverine, what dealership accomplishment are you most proud?
Well, that's a pretty unfair question. I mean,
You're welcome.
There's so many accomplishments. I'm so indebted to my team, and I'm so indebted to my customers, and I'm so indebted to my community.
All right, well then pick 2 or 3. We'll talk about
reputation. Well, let's just go right to reputation. We're an exemplary Harley Davidson dealership, and you ask our customers, you ask our competitors, you ask the motor company. That is such an incredible accomplishment. We are blessed to be able to give back to the community, and the Barn Shield is huge. Without, the Barn Shield gives you the power to give back. It attracts people, and it really helps these charities and these benefits. It helps them for their causes. We've had a ride for freedom that we've been doing for 20 years, and it benefits our veterans. We've been awarded the Governor's Award here in Michigan for our work with foster children. Talk about being proud.
Wow.
We work with the Rainbow Connection, and what they do is they give wishes to kids with terminally ill diseases. My daughter is very close with them and working. So it's the relationships we've formed. It's, I went online and checked you out a little bit, and you have a segment on the greatest sale. And your story was, you had this gentleman, you were at a bike shop, you had this gentleman come in. He was down on his luck. He didn't have much. You went in the back, found a used dependable bike, came in, dusted it off, cleaned it, made it possible for him to purchase it. You didn't make much money, but just his delight, and you set him free, and just the fact that made you very happy. So I've got a story for you.
Please.
And it's not my greatest sale, but one of my greatest moments here. So I had a customer for years, very loyal customer, and unfortunately he passed years ago. And months after, his wife came in, his widow came in and told my salesperson, I want to sell my late husband's bike. And the salesperson went through the motion, our process, and came to the tower, and I was at the tower, and he said, boss, such and such is here, and she wants to sell us her bike. So I did the numbers myself. What I did is I went and I put MSRP, or not MSRP, retail amount, and I added a little bit because it's the right thing to do, and something, it's the Wolverine way. I went back to her, and I wanted to serve the numbers personally, so I sat down, and of course I told her how sorry I was about her loss, and I wanted to assure her that I'm doing the right thing. But before I could say a word, she said, stop. She said, stop, George. She goes, you don't have to explain a thing. The number is fine. You don't have to explain anything. She says, let me tell you a story. Years ago, he told me, if anything ever happens to me, I get teary-eyed just talking about it. He told me to bring the bike to you, that you would do the right thing. So that is one of my proudest moments. And
wow.
It's just wonderful. It's a wonderful feeling that people know what you're about.
Yeah. And that's quite a responsibility to live up to that reputation, and to keep going in that reputation, to keep doing the right thing. And this is really, relationships. I get a sense that far too often in this dealership, we're losing those sorts of connections that you've just described, and moving to a much more transactional industry these days. Almost like it's becoming more and more automotive. Are you seeing that in conversations with your fellow dealer principals?
Yes, I mean, these are changing times. They're trying times. They're everybody's trying to do the right thing. The motor company is trying to, I truly believe, find its way and do the right thing. We have global issues going on. We've got I don't need to tell you, I'm sure I don't even need to tell our audiences. So we're dealing with a lot of things. But yes, like I said before, I believe the dealer owner operator, the true dealer owner operator, is what really made Harley Davidson and makes Harley Davidson special. We're here, we're passionate, we
Right.
ride with you,
Right.
we spend time with you, we take care of you. Um, I think that's, and I think that we go through different phases, and I think that we always end up back to that structure, and I'm really confident that we will.
Yeah, and I think that's what fuels the brand. You know, that we're here for you, we're here with you, we ride with you, as Willie G, used to
Sure,
say,
yeah.
we ride with you. Now, you've just got the 1 point, right? You've got in Clinton Township, you've just got the one
I've got
point.
the
Is that
one
correct?
point. I've had the opportunity. We've had opportunity to purchase other points, and we really studied it and considered it, but it would thin my staff up. It would um, thin my time out. It would be logistically a little bit harder
Yeah.
to be there for your customer. I don't.
Because I mean, this is the other trend right now. The ever-growing dealer group, and it seems like like some folks are playing Monopoly. They want to get as many spaces on the board as possible.
Sure, and I've got great friendships that are dealer groups, and no two dealer groups are created equal. By the way, I'm on the dealer advisory council, so I'm very familiar with dealer groups. I've got great friendships. They run dealer groups. They run them beautifully. Mike Davis is one. Ozzy,
Yes.
you interviewed Ozzy. It's just great, great people, and they have dealer groups. I have nothing against dealer groups. I'm just saying that the way I'm built, my love, my passion
Yeah.
is not having a major corporation to worry about, but
Yeah.
have fun with my customers and be here for my employees.
And with Dilute, what you've got going on, the great things that you've built at Wolverine. So let's talk more about that. Wolverine is an incredibly values-based group.
Yes,
A,
yes,
a values-based organization. Why is that so important to you?
There's nothing that's more important than that to me. It's I think to explain our culture, it takes, and that's part of our culture. There's many things that make our culture what it is. So I can go through them.
Please, yeah, talk about it.
So, first of all, you got to lead by example.
Yeah.
I instill that in my management team and my leadership team. You must lead by example. Hypocrisy is expecting others to do what you yourself are not willing to do. So if you don't lead by example, no matter how much you beg, how much you ask, people are not. They may do it in front of you, but as soon as you turn your back, they're gonna do the wrong thing. So if you can envision the traditional org chart and then invert it for me, that's what Wolverine is about. So the customer is, of course, the boss, and I am way at the bottom. I support my managers going up, and they support their people. And the front line is basically right under the customer, and we have to give them all the support and mentor them and train them and give them anything they need. Love them the way we want them to love the customer. So just envision that org chart. No, so I believe culture is a living, breathing thing. I believe culture is a result of what you've been in the past, what you are right now, and your goals and thoughts of the future. So I want you to put another visual in your head.
All
So
right.
envision a pavilion, if you may, and it has a roof and it has four pillars and it has a foundation down beneath. So our guiding principles is, I would say, the first pillar. Okay, and our guiding principle is to treat every guest and each other with integrity and appreciation every time. What that means is do the right thing. Doing the right thing is not politically motivated. It's not money motivated. It's not pride motivated. Doing the right thing is doing the right thing. So I want you to do that all the time. And I want you to be thankful for each other, for what we have, and thankful for our customers. They're not always, sometimes they come in a bad mood, but, always integrity and appreciation. So you can envision that first pillar is very important. The second pillar has to do with our mission, and it's our mission statement. And that will solidify what I talked about in the org chart. We will listen. This is our mission statement. We will listen to our customers daily and through their eyes, view our dealership to make the necessary changes in policy to be the best Harley Davidson dealership in the world. I didn't say the biggest, I said the best. And I believe those two pillars are extremely important. How we serve, of course, we have daily disciplines. That's the third pillar, by the way. We have our daily disciplines, which is, we do things here based on, our integrity and appreciation. So we open the door when we see a person. These are examples. There's 12 of them.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We open the door when we see people approaching, not when we open, because people. How would you feel standing outside and looking through the window and that we're not open yet? That's terrible. Let them in. Right. Explain to them that we're doing the registers and so forth, and that we will be with them. To use the restroom, grab coffee, do whatever they need to do. We close only when the last, I'm going first and last. We close only when the last customer serves. So our lights are never dimmed. Our music is never turned off. You've ever experienced that?
Yes.
We stay here. Sometimes the customer will tell us, what time do you close? And we'll tell them, well, we're scheduled to close like an hour and a half ago, but you so we're open. And that's, and these things, a changing point in my life is when I took all this stuff out of my head and shared it with everybody, because you can call right now and talk to a technician, talk to the receptionist, go to a salesperson, and they will recite our guiding principles, and they'll recite our mission statements. And then you got daily disciplines. I'm sure you're waiting for the last one, the last pillar.
I am.
The last pillar is our sales steps, and every department has sales steps. Okay, we use the acronym PERFECT. Point of contact, establish relationship, recognize customer needs. I almost followed.
Right. That's
find
a long one.
Like establish ownership, close, and thank customer for life.
Yeah.
Again, every salesperson will recite that and then go into, more elaborate detail on, we train based on this.
Yeah.
So these things are all contained in a little, what I call pocket manual.
Yeah.
So these are all, I think I sent you, where you have to have it in your uniform. It's part of your uniform. And even me, I have one that says owner operator on it, and it prompts me on what to do. So I don't rely on memory, and I ground myself. And it's also something that we can sit. You don't have to go search for a big manual that you put away and you forgot what it was and got to dust it off. No, it's always with you, and it's a great training opportunity because you can stop when they're doing something incorrect. You can tell them to open it. You can.
But now, but you require your people to have this on them at all times when they're in the store.
It's part of your uniform. It's part of your dress code.
God, I love this. And I can I tell you something? I have for years tried to get my hands on one of those cards.
Yeah,
You
won't give
know,
it up.
um,
You know what
um,
I like is I think that it has to be custom to your store and your situation and your staff.
of course.
Yeah,
But hang
yeah,
on, we'll get to that in just a second. But I
yeah.
can remember specifically Chuck Bell coming to a sales session or something, and I was like, "Hey, Chuck, that card's pretty cool. Can I cop a copy of that card? Can I get that?" And he was like, "Oh no, these are only for us." And I mean, and he was serious. He was not handing that thing over. But to your larger point, you believe that it's harmful for dealers to just copy other dealers' practices. You believe they've got to come organically, and that's what you were talking about before I so rudely interrupted. So tell me why you think
100%.
that's key.
Well, it has something to do. It has to do with something that uh, is developed by your team, and there's total buy-in by your team. Now, these things, I may have started things, but we all worked on it together. This trifold has changed many times.
Yeah.
These processes and procedures, these aren't etched in stone. We change them. If somebody shows me a better way, we have continuous training. If a trainer comes in and shows us a better, smoother way to take good care of our customers, we immediately adjust. Everybody has to be part of it. So if you copy and you say, this is what we're going to do, some people will do it while you watch them, but as soon as you turn your back, it's not what the team came up with.
It's all about creating that organic commitment.
Right. And it's got to be, this, for example, we have a facility tour, which is part of establishing relationship, where you go out and we've got a history wall, and it tells you specifically where to go and what to do and how to explain things and how to introduce to every employee. And it's very, it's something that has to be unique to you and your store. And that's why Harley stores are special. They're all unique. They're all special. Every time you go somewhere, you find something cool to talk about and ride to.
Yeah,
So,
I've described the Harley network as a mosaic, that really you put together. Now, we haven't talked about the one component here that I find most fascinating. And I think all this culture stuff is terrific. I don't think enough people do it. But one thing that you do that I have never seen in my 35 years, you have a no gossip policy.
yes.
Could you tell me, what is that policy? What's the origins of it? And why is this so key?
Yes, I will. But let me finish my pavilion.
Sure, of course.
The pavilion. The roof, how we keep each other, covered is basically your job description, which is, your part. And the foundation is, you can envision, is Team Wolverine. Team first. And in order to make this stick, it has to be a continuous, simplistic communication. So we have a yearly offsite where we get together, we strategize, we plan the future, we set our budgets, we set our goals, and so forth, and that's our song sheet for the entire year. It is adjusted like everything else, and then we have a weekly general meeting. It used to be weekly, now it's every other. So I recommend that you start weekly, everybody, the whole dealership. And then, of course, there's the team meetings that go on every day to check the trends and so forth. But let me tell you about the gossip policy.
Please.
About it. This is something that I read probably 13 years ago, and it was Dave Ramsey's book, Entree Leadership. Entree Leadership is the name of the book.
Yeah.
And I was just fascinated with it, right? But I incorporated it again back to my guiding principle, or our guiding principles, is I incorporate it because it's the right thing not to do. It is, let me see. It is divisive.
Yeah.
It hurts the team. It's cruel. Uh, the Bible mentions how divisive and cruel it is. Yet it mentions it many times. Yet we do it every day. We all do it. You can't, if you're telling me you don't gossip, you do.
Right.
It's something that we do. So I think gossiping is unstoppable. I really do. But what the policy does is it brings attention to how destructive it is. So
Yeah.
people think about gossiping, and sometimes they tell each. I see when I walk by, they're going, "Hey, you're gossiping," and they catch each other. So and maybe I shouldn't say this, or maybe you shouldn't show this to my employees. I believe it's unstoppable. I think it's just something that's deep rooted in humans. But I'm slowing it down. But will I enforce it? And there's a two-shot. It's a zero tolerance.
Yeah.
Will I enforce it? I think I will. It's.
Have you ever had to?
Huh?
Have you ever had to?
I haven't had to enforce that certain policy, but it's been part of why some people why it's not working out between us and some past employees.
Yeah. Well, and the biblical reference is interesting because in the Bible, it really considers gossip to be murdering of the person's character, and I think that's really the thing. When you start grousing about, well, it's a service manager, him. It's when you start to do that stuff where the team starts to fall apart, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm reading Proverbs now, and Moses tells you how horrible it is many, many times. So yeah, it's a bad thing. It really is. It's not necessary. So in my policy, it basically says it kind of gives you guidelines on what to do if you have a problem with somebody. It tells you go up to that person, explain to them. Be a good friend, and a good friend will actually tell you you're doing this. I don't like it. It's upsetting me. I think it's hurting you, but you tell that person to their face. If that doesn't work, then you go to your department manager, talk to them, see if that can be resolved. If that still doesn't work, just come to me.
Culture can be described as how things get done in an organization. How you do what you do gets aggregated onto your back of the baseball card stats. It becomes your reputation. The late Peter Drucker, the father of modern management, once famously observed, culture eats process. I don't know about you, but I certainly learned a thing or two about creating and sustaining culture after hearing George talk about the Wolverine Way. So until next time, go sell something, will you?